No, it wasn't me.
All right.
Oh, the difference right there.
Good morning, everyone. We're gonna now call our first meeting, March to order. We're gonna ask that you put your telephones on vibrate or turn them off. We're gonna ask Emergency Management Director, Mr. Albert Jones, to lead us in the prayer. And will, if you will, right after, lead us in the pledge.
Let us pray. Oh, gracious and eternal Father God, we come to you this morning telling you thank you. Thank you for allowing us to wake up out our beds, Lord, to get to our everyday what we do. Lord, we just ask you to bless all the decision makers of this county. And Lord, let everything be done in your way, in your will. And Lord, just bless the ones that are here, bless the ones that are on their way. These prayers we pray in your darling Son, Jesus' name, amen.
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 Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You up, Ronnie?
Yes, Mr. President, you have before you, should be in hard copy as well as on your iPad, the February the 22nd board minutes. I would ask if there are no changes, the board please approve said minutes.
Motion.
Motion by Carl, second by Trey. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Motion carried. All right, before we get into our agenda here for, I think Supervisor District 4 has some exciting news. I see that our Mayor Canton is out there. I know he wants to hear this news, so we're gonna put it on top of our agenda. Go ahead, Supervisor Banks.
Thanks, Supervisor Griffin. Yeah, we have, I'm going to read this because it's a lot easier for me to not miss anything. But this morning, we're pleased to announce that the Department of Agriculture's Natural Resources and Conservation Services, that's the NRCS, has selected Madison County to share in $166 million that will be used to prevent flooding on Upper Bear Creek. Now, we're going to share in that $166 million. They're not going to give us the whole $166 million. We are one of, I think, there was 108 different projects, and we're of the first round of out of the 900 and some odd million dollars that they did appropriate for this type of project. We were in the first allotment and the highest priority in Mississippi. Okay, the Biden administration has allocated. Did I skip? No. Okay, we know that high water volumes from the creek are responsible for most of the major flooding in Canton. And we believe that a flood management system, including some sort of water containment structure, will be built as a part of this NRCS award. The Biden administration has allocated to USDA $918 million for watershed management, flooding, and erosion control projects, and $166 million of these funds were awarded in the first round. That closed on March the 4th. As the local sponsor, Madison County is proud that our project was selected in the first round as the among the highest priority projects in the United States. Okay. The county's appreciation included application included an engineering study that showed how flooding in Canton could be controlled by building a flood containment system, and we have reason to believe based on the study, Madison County will be awarded in excess of $25 million to design and to construct a flooding containment structure on the Bear Creek, which will greatly minimize flooding in my district, District 4, in Canton and elsewhere in Madison County. This money was made available as a part of the Infrastructure and Jobs Act that passed earlier this year in Washington. We acknowledge and thank the two members of our federal delegation, Congressman Benny Thompson and Senator Roger Wicker, who voted for this bill, which will help us help so many people in Madison County. Now, I didn't write that, you can tell. But the main thing is we're getting some help that Canton needs and District 4 needs. And we need to thank local people too. Our attorney, Mike Espy, one of the main reasons why everybody, I think, voted to hire him was because we knew that Mike knew people and Mike could help us, not only because he was very experienced and understood local government law, he also understands Washington. So he helped us with this. This board decided about a year or so ago that we would implement a watershed project here to study and find out the causes of the flooding in not only Canton, but other areas in Madison County. The biggest, our largest issue of flooding, of course, is in the Canton area and in District 4, my district. So we did that project, did that study, and we were able to get that information on to the people in the NRCS, and it worked. And sometimes the government works right, so it worked. And I'd like to thank Neil Schaefer Engineering for doing a great job on the study. And if anybody have any questions or anything, if you want to ask any questions, ask Mike. Yeah, we do have to take some action because we need to go ahead and appoint a local sponsor board, a committee. And yeah, go ahead.
Good morning.
Morning.
And welcome to the Canton officials, Mayor, and the new administrator. Thank you. I'll be brief. There's not much to add from what Supervisor Banks has already said. It's a good day. On Friday at 11 o'clock, the USDA published a list of 108 projects that they were going to sponsor with this infrastructure money. It's $1 trillion, and 900 million of it given to the USDA Natural Resources and Conservation Service. And of the 900 million, they sliced off 166 million for projects awarded in the first round. They closed on March 4th. Our project was selected in the first round. It's the highest project in Mississippi. They selected 4 others, but this is number 1 in Mississippi. So the most you can get is $25 million. I believe that we're going to hit that mark because we were able to give them a study already done about flooding in the Upper Bear Creek that flows north. And there's a confluence of water. They meet south, and it goes west to Canton. So we believe that there'll be a containment structure built because it's a part of our study, and that's what it's going to cost. So that's good news. Relationships are good to have. I will say, Mr. Banks, that the highest official in NRCS is a Mississippian. Dr. Homer Wilkes was just confirmed 2 weeks ago as the Assistant Secretary for NRCS. So it's good to have relationships, but it's even better to be prepared.
Yeah.
This board was
Yeah.
prepared with their study. We didn't have to do a lot because we had a study that showed there's flooding in Canton, where it came from, what would mitigate it, and what it cost. So that's what we did. And so we were awarded. So this board was prepared, we were ready at the right time, and we got the money. So 166 is the beginning of it. There's 700 million left. So we hope to get some of that as well. So good news. Now, we are the local sponsor, which means that I don't believe we have a match at all. We have other obligations. So I believe this board should take action to appoint a local sponsor committee, and then we'll interact again with NRCS to see what we need to do, you know, what hoops we need to move through, and I believe that the administrator should be on this committee, the CFO should be on this committee, because there'll be money swapped, although I don't think we have a match. I know we don't have a match, but there'll be other monetary obligations, so whoever else you want to put on is fine, but I think those two need to be on.
The
I agree
supervisor of
with you
that
there.
district definitely need to be on there. Mr. Banks.
Thank you. And I agree with you there. I do want to, before we appoint the committee, I need to apologize to our engineering firm, Joe Wagner, because I was told I made a goof and called our other engineering firm, Neil Schaefer, as being the watershed. But Joe Wagner has, and also I wanted to see if we could also place Darian Warren on the committee. So I like to. How many should we put on that committee? About 5 or 6.
Up to you.
Okay. Well, we have the
So that'll be
the
you,
attorney,
Mike, Shelton.
Shelton.
Who else? That's
You know what I'm saying?
engineer there.
What about Nassan and
Nassan?
Tim?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Tim.
Yeah. Okay.
And Tim.
Tim, my engineer.
You got that, Ronnie?
So far,
Call him back out too.
Supervisor Banks, Honorable Mike Espy, Sheldon Vance, Tim, our engineer, and Nassan, our comptroller.
And did you get Darren Warren?
And who?
Darren.
Darren Warren with Wagner. So that's 6.
Okay. And one more. And Mayor, could you give me one?
William Truly,
William Tree.
How do you spell that?
like I love you truly.
All right.
Okay.
I got that.
We got a motion by Carl to appoint that committee.
Yeah.
There's a second. I'll make that second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Okay.
And I'm gonna just throw my little in. Mike, I know your contacts had a big part in this here. So I want to double thank you for what you done. Go back to work, find us some more money. Senator Wicker, he stepped out and voted for this transportation bill, separated from his party. Always our Congressman, Benny Thompson. Hey, we wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for that money coming from down from the federal government. And I want to thank this board here for being proactive, spending taxpayer money to get a bigger dollar, bigger money on doing those studies. So that's what you call working together for the betterment of the people.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
Well, we got Mayor Truly here. Would you like to
Bond?
Yes, sir, I was waiting.
have some words to Truly? I
You
know-
got 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Let me get my clock started.
I see this 2-minute limit here. First of all, good morning to everyone. Secondly, from the heart of the city, we certainly appreciate everything that the Board of Supervisors have done as it relates to trying to find a way to mitigate and eradicate, hopefully, the flooding problem here in the city of Canton. To help the city of Canton. We're just gracious and grateful for this help. I have 45 seconds left. I want to introduce to you our city administrator, Ms. Jackie Amos, the young lady here. And we do have someone who backs us up, serves as our guru in storm and water drainage, Melon Garrett. If you would take a stand. And everything that I tell you, it comes from him anyway. But look, we're just delighted and we're just happy and most appreciative that Wagner Engineering, is that right? Not
Wagner Engineering.
And the Board of Supervisors took this great forward step that's going to certainly benefit the citizenry and citizens of Canton. Thank you.
All right, then.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming today.
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll go to our concerned citizen. Shelton, you have anybody sign up?
The only person that has signed up is on your agenda, Nancy Sanchez.
All right. Is Miss Nancy Sanchez present? Come on up and tell us what street you live on and what you like us to try to do for you.
Up to the microphone, please, ma'am.
Yeah, talk right in that mic if you will.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm sorry, my English is not that good when I'm nervous.
Take your time.
I have a problem. I pay my taxes in 2020, and I went to do a home study.
Homestead.
And when I was there, they did a like a disc adjustment, for me, and I pay the amount that they say they I was supposed to be paying. And that's it. So I send in my payment for 2021, and then I receive my check back, and a letter saying it was in some kind of trouble. So I stopped by and check it out, and they said it was because I did not pay my taxes in 2020, and I said yes, I did, and I bring the receipt, and they said because the adjustment was never made due to the hours already have.
Due to what now?
That I have already like an adjustment in the previous house that I was living in. But my concern was that I did not never receive a letter or they did not tell me anything, and I just find out in February, and I'm in this big trouble. I have a past debt with increasing taxes for not paying it, and I'm not able to pay my current taxes, which is the only, I was prepared for these taxes, not for these. So I don't know what to do. I've been trying to talk to different people here, and they've been saying there's nothing they can do, and they just finally give me the option to come and talk to y'all. Maybe y'all can help to with the taxes for 2020, so I can pay my taxes 2021.
Shelton, anything on
don't
that, or do
understand.
we need somebody across the aisle?
Ms. Sanchez, if I'm telling them something wrong, you tell me, okay? Here's my understanding of what happened. She came in 2020 to pay her taxes, and the taxes were roughly $4,200. And she goes to the tax assessor's office and makes an application to get the 10% application, 10% residential, owner-occupied resident rate on her property. They gave her a calculation of what the taxes would be, which is what was on that sheet of paper that I showed you. Subsequently, the adjustment to her taxes did not get made and I don't know the reason. Her taxes, the remaining balance of her taxes, then, remember, it was $4,200, she paid $2,400. There was an adjustment of the difference. The adjustment did not get made for some reason. Her property sold at the land sale. She apparently was not aware that they did not make the adjustment, so she comes in to pay her current taxes, and the tax collector will not take her current taxes because she has outstanding taxes from a prior year in the Chancery Clerk's office. So we've got an issue with a homestead application or homestead qualification. So do you want to refer this to your attorney to let your attorney look into it?
It's probably,
Yeah, along with over across the hallway, Mike.
Yes, sir. I'm not aware of this, so I don't know the details behind it, so.
The only thing the board could elect to do is, after investigation, is find reason to void the sale.
okay.
If that qualifies, and I don't know the details.
We'll be glad to work with you, Mr. SB, any way we can.
You got to find out why the adjustment wasn't made first. That's why. You
That would
think
be-
you can do it by next meeting, Mike?
Sure.
All right, if you will. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Have a good
Okay.
day.
If there are no other concerned citizens, we'll move on to a consent item.
Okay.
Mr. President, if I could, on item number 9 on the consent, could we add your board attorney as being authorized to travel to the MAS Minority Caucus Conference?
All right?
Yeah.
And I would like to pull item 8 for to be discussed. And now I entertain a motion on the
I'd
rest
like
of
to
them.
move that we approve the consent items excluding number 8 and at number 9, add Mike, our attorney, to the travel consent there.
All right, there's a motion by Carl, there's a second.
Second.
Second by Sheila. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Just a question on number 8, Shelton. Approve Madison County Mega Site Alliance Fire Protection District and authorize payment.
Yes, sir.
They got a,
Okay. Looking at reading this, though, it just said, please accept this memorandum as a request for the monthly pay allotment as approved by the Board of Supervisors for members of the Madison County Mega Site Alliance and Fire District. The board members have conducted meetings in the month of February. So basically, it's just really just approving the monthly.
They're asking for
Right.
approval of their meetings.
Remember, this board set a per diem
Yeah.
for the board members, so there just has to be some evidence that they attended the meeting, just like we do for planning and zoning commissioners.
And then we can approve their pay.
That's right.
Okay, I move.
all right, so that motion is just to approve the pay.
The pay of
The pay.
of those 5 members.
All right? I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Good, good. Get the board to approve it. We're trying to move forward to get a grant to solve some issues in the West Madison Utility District in terms of the wastewater problem. And they have funds that would be available. What was the match on this, 10%?
10% match.
10% match, total amount of funds, 800,000.
I think it would total out to be $825,000.
Yeah, and with a 10% match. And I'd like to make a motion that this resolution has to be part of our application, so I'd like to make a motion that we approve this resolution.
Motion made by Carl. I second it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
All right. Now we move.
Thank you all. Okay.
Moving to our business items, we got Tim. You gonna call them out?
Well, I'm gonna call them out.
All right, go ahead.
At the last board meeting, you all asked for an update on the 3 big road projects. So we have our 3 engineers here. We're gonna let Darian with Wagner go first.
Good morning.
Morning, Darren.
I believe since the last board meeting and update that we provided, MSCG began performing design services related to the 30-inch water line relocation efforts on the west side of the project limits that runs, the water line runs adjacent, parallel with Parkway East. Since then, and this water line is also owned by the Mississippi Major Economic Impact Authority. So since then, we proceeded with doing the design related to relocating that water line, and we have finished that design. And so what we're doing now is preparing the front-end documents to get to the county engineer so we can begin advertising that project so we can have that water line relocated before the roadway work begins. So we, based on our schedule, we're looking to get that to the county engineer, the front-end documents this month, and we're still on track to accomplish that and work with Tim to begin advertising sometime next month. So that's where we are currently as it relates to the water line relocation. Also associated with that, the relocation of that water line, again, as I stated, it's owned by MMEIA. So we've been coordinating with their engineers as well related to an MOU that will need to be put in place as it relates to those relocation efforts being handled by Madison County. And so they've provided a draft MOU, and what I need to do is follow up with Mr. Bryan and Attorney Espy related to that MOU and make sure, and from the language that's in it, make sure that we're at a point now where we can present that to the board for consideration and comment. So that's the other piece related to the relocation of the 30-inch water line. As it relates to the actual roadway project itself, one of the things that we were waiting on, we submitted a raised grant application last year, and so we were kind of on hold to see what the outcome of that raised grant application was going to be, because there was some components in there, specifically a park and ride facility, that if that grant was awarded, we would need to, it would have changed our design, so we would have had to incorporate that into our design. And so we received notification that we did not get that award of that grant, so we proceeded with completing the design for the roadway and bridge project. Right now, we're still on track on what we're projected to get the finalize the design and get that to back to MDOT for any comments or any additional comments that they may have. We anticipate getting that back, or we'll get that back to them by May of this year. So that's our other critical path at this point, is getting the final design to MDOT for review and any additional comment that they may have. As it relates to the OPCs for the project as a whole, the roadway and bridge project, OPC to date hasn't changed. Where we're at 18 million as it relates to the roadway and bridge only. As it relates to the water line relocation, the OPC is at 1.9 million, and so we're still holding there as well. You know, as it relates to construction, we've anticipated 120 days for the water line relocation, and for the roadway and bridge project, about 24 months is what we're looking at in terms of that project once construction begins.
Mr. President, I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
First of all, the project we're talking about is we're actually talking about the Reunion Interchange Bridge, actually, the bridge.
Yes, sir.
And we're talking about on the west side, Bozeman Road to the interstate, cross the interstate to Parkway East on the east side of the interstate.
Correct.
That's the project you just talked about.
Yes, sir.
With the water line removal and plus the dollar amount.
Yes, sir.
So I understand the water line, got to get it, get it moved. But I want to make sure I'm clear that you think we will go in or let out for construction sometimes later this year for the road project itself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what we're still projecting.
Have it kind of projected down to a couple of months, whether it's October, November, or somewhere in that neighborhood, or?
Right now, what we've projected is, let's see, October of this year is what we're anticipating in terms
around
of
October,
Yes, sir.
you would come back to the board with saying that we want to let this construction at this point.
Yes, sir.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay, good deal. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
There's no more questions. Thank you, Darren.
Thank you.
Oh, Darren, you heard we placed you on that committee, right?
No, I missed it. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, you on it.
It's volunteer. It's
I
a
was about to say-
volunteer position.
Oh, no, well, it is what it is then. Thank you.
Just showing my appreciation for you.
Morning, members of the board. My name is Brad Ingles. I'm with Stantec Consultant Services. Appreciate y'all giving us the opportunity to give y'all a quick update on Reunion Phase 3 project. The Reunion Phase 3 project is the connecting part that goes from Parkway East to Highway 51. As previously noted, we've finished the environmental document. We finished all the right-of-way acquisition. We've finished the design. Currently, the county's advertising for construction, engineering, inspection services. We've submitted the stormwater permit, and we've submitted the wetland permit. Mr. Espy is working on a utility agreement with Texas Eastern right now. As soon as we get that in place, at that time, MDOT will submit the wetlands permit to the Corps for approval. And then the county can start buying wetland credits. Anticipate that Corps process to take between 60 and 90 days. Once we get to that stage, hopefully we can get the utility thing wrapped up with Texas Eastern. And then that should be the last thing we need to move forward with this project. We're still shooting for sometime in August, we hope.
For construction?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
To let it out.
Let it in August. We're still shooting for August as a letting.
How long?
It's roughly 18 to 24-month process.
For the road
For the
to be built?
construction. Yes, sir.
What was the cost estimate?
Cost estimate, the county, today, we're looking at the county having to contribute roughly $15 million for the construction services themselves on top of the $15 million. That's on top of the $2 million that you've already spent to date with right-of-way and design services.
But the total cost is around $18 million?
Yes, sir.
Give or take a little, okay. Mike, are you, when do you think you'll have your part done on the
Get it this
agreement?
weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Get it today.
Perfect.
So with that being said, it'll move along maybe a little quicker then?
We hope so. As soon
Could.
as we get that done and get that agreement in place, the MDOT will move forward with the core permit, so.
And my understanding is that it's actually a couple of bridges that is a big part of this.
Yes, sir.
This
Two
road.
long bridges for sure.
Yeah.
Railroad bridge and then the
Okay.
mitigation gap bridge.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, guys, thank you. Up next, Dan Wright.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right.
Stan Wright with Neil Schaefer. I'm here to update y'all on Bozeman Road. We're still on the same schedule we always have. Trying to let the project in probably September. We're going to be dependent on the utility companies. I don't know if you noticed, but they're clearing. A lot of work going on right now, so that's good news. Entergy has to probably relocate 50 poles, I believe. Y'all have already entered into an agreement with them. AT&T has probably got about $1.5 million worth of work to do, and they're ongoing too. All total, we have 8 different utility companies that we're dealing with. Let's see, Bear Creek will be coming to the board probably next board meeting or so to kind of get their agreement going. All this was anticipated, all that's in the budget. Let's see, we also have to, like Brad said, we have a wetlands assessment that we're going through too, that we'll have to get a 404 permit. That's ongoing as well. That'll be another cost of roughly $500,000, but that's in the budget, so there's no surprises. Our construction costs are still relatively the same. We're a little cautious because everything that's going on in the world. You know, we haven't seen recent bids, but we're all a little concerned about how much materials are costing, how much fuel is costing right now. So we'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully, I don't think it'll go insurmountable, but there could be a slight increase in construction. I think we should anticipate that. Right now, I don't have any really hard data to make an adjustment, so I think we're still good with the total cost being $25 million. The plans are in good shape. We're moving forward with those. The big thing was that the right-of-way was completed. You know, we had 55 parcels that we had to go through, and that was a big challenge. We met our deadline. We got confirmation from MDOT and CMPDD, so those that $4.4 million is secured, so that's good. And like I said, we anticipate probably letting the project in the fall. It'll just be dependent on the utility companies. Like I said, well, there's 8 different ones, and we're doing our best to stay on top of them, make sure they're relocating where they're supposed to. We may enter into a contract beforehand to do some clearing to help some of the construction with the utilities out. So we're talking to a couple of those. They don't want to have to do, you know, if you saw Energy went out there and did their own clearing. Some of them on the west side, we might want to do a separate contract. We're looking into that. It would be all relative to the construction cost, so just something we're looking into. Phase 2, we're still in the design phase, and we'll start probably buying right-of-way later this year with the board's approval. We won't be able to go to construction for that until Phase 1's completed. But all told, Phase 1 will probably be a 2-year construction contract, so we're hoping to, you know, take bids late this fall, and then 2 years from there we'll be completed. It'll be a long process, but I think we're going to get through it.
Stan, what's the total cost of the project, not including the federal and state money that we've obtained? What was it for the first half?
I mean, the total cost, let me see if I make sure I understand your question. The total cost for Phase 1, which is 25, you've gotten 4.4 from federal money, 5 from the state. So the remainder would be roughly $15 million, $15.5, $16 million from the county.
And a 24-month build-out is what from the time we complete to the first cars, 24 months? Yeah,
the construction on this will probably take 24 months. Now, the last 3 or 4 months will probably be, the road will probably be in usable condition, so, but the total to close out the contract, that'll probably take 24 months.
Okay.
Stan, if you will, take a minute and explain Phase 1 and Phase 2, where people will understand exactly what you just said, that will start later on this year.
Sure, absolutely. Phase one is, we'll be widening to a boulevard section, very similar to what Highland Colony Parkway looks like, from 463 all the way up to Reunion Parkway. We'll also be building that section at the very north end, where Belterre basically is, to improve that intersection as well with Gluckstadt Road. The other thing we had to do is we had to build a bike trail from 463 all the way up to Gluckstadt. That was because the application for the funding committed to a bike trail. So that was what we had to commit to. So the second phase will be continuing with that.
Before you get off phase one,
Sure.
explain a little bit more on the northern end up around Gluckstadt Catholic Road, what you're planning on doing with the intersection or
Yes.
interchange.
Well, we'll be, yes, sir. We'll be, like I said, widening to that section where it'll be we'll have, if you're facing north, you'll have a dual left. That means two lefts. You'll have right turn. The intersection will be wildly improved, and you'll have two lanes that can come to the south, and then we'll improve the intersection. We've already improved it to the east, Gluckstadt Road, so we're going to improve it even more to the west, and then we're going to improve it to the north at Catlett. We're by adding two dual left turns that will go onto Gluckstadt Road, which will allow all those people that are coming south in the morning trying to get to the interstate. Now they'll have two left turns, and then they'll be able to access the two new lanes on Gluckstadt Road, so hopefully that'll improve traffic tremendously right there. And that goes back about 500 feet.
Okay, and the interchange, or the intersection, not interchange, but the intersection down on Reunion Boulevard.
Yes, sir.
And Bozeman. Explain that a little.
Well, that'll be, you got two projects going on at the same time, so they'll tie in, and we've been working with Wagner to make sure we're all on the same page and have everything, we're not sure which one's going to get there first, but we'll make sure that whichever one does, we'll have the same plans and everything's coordinated. We're going through Tim, coordinating that. So that is going to be, I guess, it'll be what we call a channelized intersection. It'll be signalized.
Right.
And it'll be similar, I guess, looking at the same intersection, kind of like what you have at 463 in Highland Colony, where you have all those lanes in a channelized intersection, and it'll meet the capacity needs for both projects.
Right, and explain the one at 463 in Bozeman. What
yes, that one, because that, if you see how congested that intersection is. That one you have two left turns now, but one of them really is not a left turn. It's a dual left, but it's really not. So what we'll have two dual lefts now, and that lane will go all the way past the entrance into Colony Crossing. So you'll have well enough capacity for Bozeman. I mean, what's going to dictate it is how the interchange is acting on Madison. And then we'll have two through lanes going north, two lanes going south, and a right turn lane to go back towards, I guess, the west.
And how far back west will it go on Bozeman as far as, what, a 5-lane or a 4-lane and a turn lane? How far back does it actually?
On Bozeman?
Yes.
The dual lefts will go all the way back. You know where the entrance into Colony Crossing is?
Yes.
It'll go past that.
Okay.
I'm not sure the length of that off the top of my head,
that's
but it probably more than doubles the capacity of what's there now, maybe triple. And there will be a median that goes through there, so there will not be left turn access into the community bank property or Colony Crossing, which is, why we're in eminent domain with community bank. But, and just for the record, that I think we're scheduled for court on that in July 25th. I can't really speculate on anything on that. Not sure if I'm even supposed to say anything.
Well, and that project that you just named off is approximately
That's what we call
$45 million.
Yes, sir. That's what we're calling phase one.
Okay. All right, and I know phase 2 is coming on board and
Phase two, we would be able to do phase two quicker, but since the way the funding is set up, we'll have to do we won't be able to really start phase two until phase one construction is complete. What we hope to have, and we'll have all the right-of-way purchased. There will be some utility relocation on phase two, and that'll be a little tricky because I'm not sure if in the area that we're building phase two, we already have the bike trail, so most of that work will be it'd just be the bike trail, so most of that work will be on the west side. So I feel like there's a potential that we could do the utility relocation on the east side while the construction's ongoing. We're going to work with the utility companies and whatever contractor we have at that time just to see if we can make that work. That might could help us out by 5 or 6 months.
And that estimate cost is approximately 12 million?
That's about $12-13 million, correct.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
President,
Darren.
I got a couple of questions for Darren.
Thought you were gonna get away then.
Yeah. You said we'll most likely start construction in October. How long do you think construction will take on the overpass?
For Reunion Phase 2?
Yeah, I mean, I'm, I don't want to say estimation.
We 24 months, about two years for that one as well. Yes, sir.
What was minus the federal, the state money we've already getting? Do you know what our liability, what we're going to have to come up with?
That I don't recall and don't have with me right now.
Shelton would have those numbers.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Darren.
All right.
All right.
Tim, you still up?
That's the money. That's the money.
Give you a ballpark on that number. I think it's going to be around 9 million.
How much?
Probably around 9
Our portion is going to
Right.
be?
at this point. Yes, sir. All right, and one,
9 million for phase 2?
right, I believe phase 2 is about a $25 million project, and we've
Yeah.
got 13.
Okay.
We've spent probably about 2.
Got it.
Those are ballpark figures.
Thank you.
All right, and one other thing, it wasn't part of Brad's project, but it really is a part of Brad's project, which is the intersection of Highway 51 and Green Oak. MDOT has that scheduled for an August letting, so it should go about the same time that Brad says that Reunion 3 will go. So, moving on. First project, or first item I have for you is a request for the board to activate the project that we mentioned last week, which is the Yandell Road Improvement Project. This allows MDOT to issue a project number and allows us to begin selecting engineers and working through the process of getting it designed.
Okay, move.
Motion by Carl, second by Trey. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Next item I have is Expedition Point Phase 1 Final Plat. This is the development that's located on the reservoir right there at 43 at Brown's Landing. It's roughly 70 lots on roughly 48 acres. We do have a letter of credit for the final wearing surface.
Motion.
All right.
Second.
Motion by Trey, second by Sheila. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
All right, I do have one additional item. I can talk about it now or do it under new business.
Go ahead.
Okay. Mike and I have been working on this, but there's a road, Ratliff Road, which runs off of Livingston Vernon. It runs parallel to the railroad tracks up to the river. There are 4 or 5 residents at the very north end of that live on this road. Well, Ratliff Road sits on CN right-of-way. So CN has come to us and said, hey, we're going to replace our bridge, and while we do, we're going to shut down Ratliff. And it is what it is. They have that authority. So we have to figure out how to get those people on the very end out. And so what we've done is there is one property owner who is Pluto LLC that has agreed to let us cross their land to get into the back of the Heights neighborhood. And so what we're requesting is for funds to be allocated to, or allow construction equipment and funds to be allocated to make that road drivable for roughly a week, and also to indemnify the property owner of any liability.
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, there's a motion by Carl. The second?
Second?
Second by Gerald. A discussion. Let me make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. You want to make an alternate route so you can get to the back of the
Right.
property. And this basically going to be what, a rock type road?
We're going to, there's I hate to say a road, but there's a path going through there that we're going to need to send the motor grader down and probably put some rock on to stabilize it so that it's drivable.
All right.
Build a temporary road for a week.
Right, basically.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
All right, thank you.
That's it? All right, Tim. Scott? Weeks.
RAT, what's it called? Rattler?
Mr. President, Board of Supervisors, good morning.
Morning.
I have, first item on the agenda is Charlton Place Phase 1. It's the plat amendment of Lot 1 and 2. It's located in Charlton Place subdivision, Supervisor District 4.
Move. Second.
Motion by Carl, second by Trey. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Well, let me stop you for a minute, Scott, because while we're still in District 4, I think that there's some issues that that you all need to take a look at in our zoning. You and I have had conversations, and I'd like to have this board authorize planning and zoning to make those modifications you and I have talked about and bring it back to our board.
Yes, sir. If you could authorize myself and county and
County attorney.
planning and zoning attorney and some assistance from CMPD,
Okay.
we will get that taken care of to go to P&Z, then ultimately the Board of Supervisors.
Okay, then.
Wait,
I'd like to make that motion.
what do we do? Explain what kind of modifications?
We have some amendments to our ordinance that need to be done. We just need to shore up some stuff from the 2019 ordinance.
Okay.
And
Like
just
what?
address some minor issues on some of it. Has to do with zoning districts and possibly adding another zoning district and just kind of tightening up most of the ordinance.
What kind of district are you planning on adding?
We have discussed a possible commercial planned unit development for some areas of the county. That's just a possibility. We just need to talk with CMPDD about it.
And what will that allow?
It would be more like an old town district, kind of like the way Livingston was addressed.
Are you talking about like residential on the top and commercial on the bottom?
That is a possibility.
All right, was there a motion?
Yeah, I made a motion.
Motion by Carson. Was there a second?
There was a second for him to bring back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
basically what the motion was about, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna come back to us. Any changes?
Got a motion by Carl, second by Gerald. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Scott.
Next item is Madisonville Phase 2. This is 104 lots on Yandle Road, Supervisor District 5.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Carl. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
And
All
my
right.
last item is Tex Farms. They had a 6-month extension on the mining permit. It was an exempt mining permit. They have not quite gotten finished, and they're just asking for a 3-month extension. And it's located at 2742 Highway 43 North, Supervisor District 5.
All right, motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Trey. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
That's all I have.
Couple questions before you run off.
Yes, sir.
On the Madison County Amusement Park, up on South Spring Road. Do you know off the top of your head the zoning of that?
C2.
It's C2?
Yes, sir.
Is there any way you and Mike can look at it to see they having these concerts up there? And I'm not against the old concert really, but they got the 4-wheelers coming in there and getting off their property and causing other issues. I think the sheriff might have some comment on this also. Mr. Sheriff, you got any comments on that?
Actually, I do, but I'm against all of it, though. The concerts included. They're tearing up people's private property. They're cutting fences on private property. They're riding all these jacked up four-wheelers and stuff up and down the road. We've had to pursue them up and down the road. The concerts are going on all hours of the day and night. The people down there or up there in that area are complaining nonstop, and we're having violent crimes being committed. People being killed, people being shot, horses being killed. It's every time they have an event. We got to do something. We have absolutely got to do something, whether it's shut the property down for these events or I don't know. I'm looking for guidance, but we've met with the property owners. We've met with the event holders. We've asked them to have private security on the property. We've asked them not to park on county property. Nothing that we've tried to do with them has worked, and quite frankly, I'm sick of it.
And this is privately owned property, for the one that don't know where the amusement park is. The time limit, we definitely need to see, can we do something on that time? So Mike, can you work with him? Along with who else you might need, with the lawyer there?
Yeah, I was unaware until this morning, talked to the sheriff. So we could file for an injunction to stop it completely. Based on what the sheriff said.
Safety concerns.
I mean, you have police powers to shut it down. So
Well,
that would be it.
I'm ready to do whatever we got to do. We're talking about several thousand people at a time, that there's no way a police force or a sheriff's department could go up there and handle in a manner from a law enforcement standpoint. There's no cooperation from them. It's just a drunken, disorderly disaster every time we go up there.
So we need authorization to take action from you. So I just learned this morning about it. So you authorize us to investigate and file an injunction if necessary.
Yeah, and what I'm looking to do is not to stop the horse racing. I'm looking to stop the, basically, the big old rap concert, the four-wheeler show. Well, what I'm leaving out, Sheriff, on that. The horses is not a problem when they just doing horses, but then when you start the four-wheelers and the rap concerts and all that, can we?
Could you authorize us to, if I could go out there with the sheriff and the zoning lawyer, talk to the property owner?
Good luck.
Together?
Mike, Mr. President, and of course, I understand that's your district by all means, but I hear what the sheriff is saying.
Okay.
I hear it very clear. And I know it's in District 5, but I think this is something that you have to put a stop to now.
Okay.
To some type of agreement with Supervisor Griffin, in being involved and knowledgeable and the attorneys. But I hear it very clear that y'all have tried to talk with the landowners and what's going on, and they have just turned the head another direction. And so to me, that doesn't work in Madison County. To me, as a supervisor,
okay,
we need to give the powers to do whatever needs to be done to handle this.
Well, on private property, what are our options as far as reining in concerts?
You have police powers
Yeah.
to stop a nuisance, to stop a situation that's injurious to public health. You can stop it. So we probably would have to file an injunction to stop it.
Okay.
Get a judge to sign an order because it's an emergency.
I do want to say that we have begged and pleaded with this landowner to have an organized event.
Yeah, we have.
Mr. Griffin and I have talked to them, and they've come to the office and met with us and had their security people come and talk with us. It is not an organized event by any means. There's inadequate security. There's inadequate facilities out there. There's inadequate easement or ingress and egress in that facility. They park all over the place. They were parking up at the park, but we stopped that. But they're parking all over private properties. They're cutting fences, letting people's livestock out, and all hours of the day and night. And when you put 5,000 or 6,000 people in a venue like that, you can't control it.
Definitely can't be controlled.
Now, I'm not against an organized event where you have adequate planning and things in place, but these people will not cooperate with us in any form or fashion. And it is violent acts. We had a young man almost died this weekend there. We've had people killed there, livestock killed there, people on four-wheelers having wrecks there. And then we can't get in, paramedics can't get in, fire personnel can't get in to help them. And we're going to end up being on the hook for it.
What are you asking us to do?
Let me see, can I get this answer question first? The landowner, basically, from my understanding, then turned it over to an event planner. And he didn't got all the way out of the picture. So who would be going after, the landowner or that event planner?
The landowner.
Landowner. Good enough. Okay. All right.
What do you need?
That what you want us to do?
What do you need? What motion do you
You
need?
need to authorize us to file an injunction, file for a temporary restraining order, TRO.
On the concerts only, not the horse racing. Is that what I'm hearing? Hard to differentiate.
It's not just the concerts. The horse racing, I think y'all may recall here recently about the horse track in Vaughn, where all the shooting and stuff took place, where individuals were killed, and that's some of these same participants here. The main guy here was part investor in that track. So now what was going on at that track has moved to this track since they shut that track down up there. The authorities shut that track down, and now we have it. And we need to shut it down for the same purposes.
Yeah. I look at it like this. We have a huge investment in the park at Sulphur Springs.
Yeah.
This is not far from Sulphur Springs, from what I understand.
No.
And it just, we have to do what the right thing is to start with. But we do have a huge investment. So, Ms. Griffin,
I think if we go along with the injunction to shut it down, it might get the owners all the way to the table, and then we might can work some out. And help me out, sure, on just being.
I think there needs to be an injunction in place until the owner or the proprietor, whoever that is, can come before this board on a case-by-case basis and present a plan and get authorization to have an event and show this board or us that they have an event that they've planned out and is adequate enough security and something in place that's safe environment. And they're refusing to do that.
Is that a motion?
I get the sure about ready to make it.
I'll second it.
Let me ask you, look, what would this do to the people that have their horses up there, and they go up there every day and feed them, and they train them?
We're not having a public event.
I don't know.
Well, I would let them work through this with you being involved. I'd give them the authority to work through that with you being involved. And
I'm gonna make a motion, but I don't know what the motion is. Go find the injunction.
The motion is you authorizing the county lawyer and the zoning lawyer to file for a temporary restraining order against the owner of this property.
You hear that, Ron?
Yes, sir.
I make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Second by Carl. We done had the discussion. So all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
As far as the
Good tomorrow.
All right.
As far as the individuals that
Y'all gonna
have
provide
horses
us the
up
name
there,
of
they
the,
go out and they exercise.
Mr. Espy, y'all can provide us the name of the individual?
We just don't want him.
Someone will, okay.
Out of
Okay.
control.
For the minutes, yes, sir.
Andy, I got a question for you. Going back, I'm not saying I'm opposed to the zoning changes, but we need a more detailed report before that affects the whole county. Scott, more detailed report on the zoning changes?
That was the motion. That was the motion.
No
They
doubt.
would be
We-
bringing that back to us.
Yeah, we'd bring a proposal back to you guys. I mean, there's things in there that are just as simple as, like the Mansdale Livingston Historic Preservation District.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of instances where our meeting falls before their meeting. Well, we need to put that in there where they would, just some very plain language, where they meet the Monday before our meeting on Thursday, so that there's no issue with the timing of, I mean, little simple things like that need to be tightened up. So not only the addition of the different district or whatever, but just little nuances that need to be tightened up here and there. And anything that we do has got to come before you guys for approval anyway. So.
Okay. All right.
And while I'm here, Trey, this is your district, just wanted to give by way of report. Last Tuesday, Mike and I and Scott tried the Teddy Lee matter. Better part of a day. I'm very confident in the case that we put forward. Their only real defense was that we couldn't prove that he was in violation every day, that he had bought some additional property to park his stuff on. So again, I'm very confident. Judge took it under advisement. I expect a ruling really any time here pretty quickly. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. You bet. Thank y'all.
All right. Thank you. Mike, anything?
All right.
Shelton, you up?
Yep, Shelton.
Mr. President, your clerk asked for the name of the person. It appears that that property is in the name of Johnny Baldwin and heirs. Does that sound correct to you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, if I can draw your attention to an agenda item. And my agenda has gone down. Let's look at item number 42. This is a request from the Red Cross. You may remember that the Red Cross is allowed by statute to receive donations from you. They typically ask for considerably more than you budget for, but there's a $5,000 budget item that they are now asking for disbursement of.
Boo.
Second.
Motion by Carl, second by Trey. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Items 43 and 44, unfortunately, the attachments to these are switched. I apologize for that. This is a request from South Madison County Fire Protection District for a millage increase in the upcoming fiscal year. And then there is a letter of support from the Gluckstadt mayor for this millage increase.
Motion.
Would you please acknowledge this letter only?
Okay.
Second on the motion for acknowledgement.
Got a motion by Trey, second by Carl. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
My question, one, first question that I would have would be that this is supported by the city or town or hamlet, whatever it might be, of Gluckstadt. How much of Gluckstadt is the district, South Madison County Fire Protection District? How much of that is Gluckstadt? I mean, because
I would only be giving an estimate.
Our taxes, I mean, if we give them permission for a 2 mil increase, it would only be on that portion that's outside the city limits of Gluckstadt.
Well, remember, because this fire district was formed before the city was incorporated, this fire district is still intact. And the Board of Supervisors has not taken any action to do anything about that. So the fire district still includes, or does include, the newly incorporated city of Gluckstadt.
Okay. Until, but the city of Gluckstadt, do they have any recourses on that?
Can you ask your question in a different way?
Yeah, but can the city of Gluckstadt decide if they want to have their own municipal fire department?
I think the answer, I would defer to your attorney, but I think the answer to that is they have the right to have their own fire department if they choose to. But if I remember correctly, we accepted a letter or acknowledged a letter from the city saying that they were not going to operate a fire department because remember, that letter had to be received for the countywide fire tax to continue to apply to the city of Gluckstadt. And for us to receive some fire rebate funds from the state. So my understanding is they do not intend, or at least at this point, have not expressed an intention in operating their own fire department.
Okay.
My question is, what I'm reading here is, with this additional millage, they looking the possibility to buy a ladder truck. Most of the area that I represent is all houses. And I would hate to try to impose a different tax on them to buy a ladder truck for the businesses. The question is, are the business paying their portion now?
My recollection is, and I haven't looked at this in several months, but my recollection is that when you passed the exemption, and when I say you, I mean this board, passed the exemptions, I believe that you accepted fire protection taxes from those tax exemptions. So without doing any current study, I believe that the businesses are paying the fire protection tax unless that business is a part of a fee in lieu agreement, but I don't think there's anybody down there that's in a fee in lieu agreement.
Nope.
So my understanding is they are paying the fire protection tax, but I do need to confirm that. Remember, I'm telling you, I haven't looked at that in several months. But you would be right, sir. This truck would be a commercial area truck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And if they wouldn't have wrote that in there, they probably would have got my vote. But by writing it in there saying this, they gonna use this mostly for a ladder truck, I can't vote to impose a tax on the people that I represent that stays in homes only. But
now remember, I'm just asking you to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Because in your budget adoption process, for this to occur, you will have to advertise a tax increase, and you will have to specify the tax increase. So there are additional steps that have to happen. I'm just asking you to acknowledge the letters that have been issued.
All right, the motion.
Well, we've made the motion, and that was, Trey made the motion to acknowledge, and I seconded it. It's already been voted, it's already been acknowledged. And after the acknowledgement, then I just wanted to ask some questions for clarification, because I was waiting to get to that point that he just said. You know, what has to happen for that tax increase is several steps. One of them being we have to advertise that and let the people know that they get ready to receive a 2 meal increase on their backs, the people that are in that particular district, folks that live in Lake Caroline and Ashbrook and those subdivisions are getting ready to receive that 2 meals.
Okay.
I know one of them very closely.
I do too.
You too. That's right. Okay, but that's it.
I thought that was on the mayor's Gustak.
No, we put both of them together.
Oh, you put both of them together?
I think the letter, I think the mayor sent the letter. I think he signed the letter, and let me go back and read that letter. But it says, I'm aware that on February 17, 2022, the South Madison County Fire Protection District requested an increase in the millage. As the mayor, I write to express my support. So that's a letter from the mayor. But I think what Mr. Banks was doing is he was acknowledging both the letter asking for the 2 meals and the mayor's letter at one time.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all the same issue.
All right. So we got a motion by Carl, second by Trey. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, the next.
Okay.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I don't suspect new equipment and new manpower will help lower the fire rating of this district. That's all.
I'm sorry, sir.
New equipment and new manpower won't help lower the fire rating at all. That's all based on location and mileage from fire departments.
Well,
and
fire rating is located on volume of water, access to personnel, access to equipment. There's several things that the rating bureau uses. And of course, a private insurance company can or cannot use that rating to lower insurance. There's many things that insurance rates get built on.
Possibility that hiring more manpower and getting newer equipment could lower their rating.
I would hope that it would. I mean, that's an issue that they should be trying to attack. If you're going to increase taxes on your people you're protecting, you ought to try to find a way to at least save them some money on the insurance side.
Right. But before I made that comment, I would ask the rating bureau to show back up and have that conversation as to whether or not this equipment would significantly lower their fire rating. I mean, the Fire Rating Bureau is the one that does that, not Madison County.
Well, I think we have time for that because, like as you said, there's going to be other things other steps need to be taken. That just needs to be one of them. And I would, if I was the attorney for that board or that board members, I would be trying to get that information myself. So I would hope that the board and the board attorney would be working on getting that information and furnishing that information to us as we are getting ready to advertise or would be advertising to the people of the district as to what's happening to them. It would be nice that something favorable is going on as well as, a tax increase.
Guys, I see it as being very proactive on their part. As far as growth that they see coming to the city and to the metro area. So, I just think it's better for that district. And, that's the reason I supported it. Yeah. Regardless whether it does anything else, it's something they see that it's a need for their growth and definitely in support of it.
When you bring this back, Shelton, if you will, bring us a map showing the city limits of Gus Stack, especially down Yandere Railway, the city limits of Gus Stack and the fire district.
Okay, I will do that. Remember, this probably won't come back before you until June or so, but I will try to get that map to you before then.
Y'all, Henry sent me a text. He says we have to have a ladder to keep our rating and we have to have the manpower to run the ladder.
Okay.
And see, all that type of information that they need to bring this whole board.
Yeah. Yes,
so I can tell my constituent why we putting the tax on them.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, item number 45 is the 2022 RAISE grant. I just need to know if you would like to begin the process of applying for the RAISE grant for this year. Typically we have hired someone to assist us with that. Wagner has been doing that in the past couple of years.
There's a motion.
I have a motion for approval to go for the RAISE grant again. I know there's some new information out there, more money for the RAISE grant this year, and it would take very little extra to get the RAISE grant application in place this year since we've tried the last 3 years, and so I think it's definitely worth another try. So
I'll second that motion. I also agree that we've done quite a bit to have a complete file, so I don't see where it's going to cost a lot of money to make another application.
Motion by Gerald, second by Carl. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Okay,
All right.
Mr. President, I did not hear, I think I may have missed it. I do not know if you made a motion to accept those reports from the engineers into your minutes so that you'd have record of them being here.
Gerald, make that motion.
I make a motion to accept all 3 reports from the engineers.
Second it.
I'll second
Discussion on it. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, then I want to point out this document, this is a notice about a meeting at CMPDD. If you're interested, it's later this month. And then also at 2 o'clock this morning, I received this letter from the city of Canton that I placed on your desk. If you would just acknowledge this letter, and your attorney and I will look at it and prepare a response for you to consider at the next meeting.
Move to acknowledge.
Got a motion to acknowledge the letter from City of Canton. I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. All right, our comptroller.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The first item I have for you is number 46, and that's the approval for the budget amendments and the interfund cash transfers.
Make a motion for approval.
Second the motion for approval.
Motion by Gerald, second by Carl. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
The next three items, 47, 48, and 49, is for approval of the general claims docket and 2 payroll dockets.
Motion.
Motion by Sheila,
Second.
second by Gerald. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Number 50.
And the last item, number 50, is for approval of the Fleet Corps claim docket.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Carl, second by Sheila. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Riley,
Nothing, Mr. President.
Sheriff.
4 quick things. I have the inmate meal log for the month of February. I'm gonna leave with your clerk. If you could just add that to your minutes. Acknowledge that, please.
Motion.
Motion by Trey, second by Sheila. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Secondly, I have our phone service for our inmate phone services with Securus Technology. We have added our video monitoring of our video visitation as well as monitoring of our phone calls, incoming and outgoing from the facility. It's time for us to renew that. This adds an additional 2 years to the current contract. I would ask that you approve that. We're very satisfied with their service, and they're doing those additional services at no cost to us.
Second.
Motion by Carl, second by Sheila. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
And
Motion carried.
the Securus, as well as the contract with the U.S. Marshal Service that I'm discussing, Mike has reviewed both of those, by the way, and has his blessing. And on the U.S. Marshals contract, you know, we house federal prisoners. We've been charging them $55 per inmate per diem per day. Long process that expired last year, I believe, and we have been in negotiations with them, and it's been a long, tedious process with the federal government. But to make a long story short, we have renegotiated that contract and have arrived at a new fee of $70 per day.
Okay.
So it's increased $15 per day, as well as an increase in the hourly fee of manpower from 25 to 35 to haul them back and forth to the federal courthouse and stuff. So that's a pretty significant increase for us. I would ask that you acknowledge and approve that contract as well.
Second.
All right, got a motion by Carl, second by Sheila. All in favor?
Aye.
All
And I
opposed?
will say that Nassim did a lot of work on that as well, and I appreciate her help on that.
All right.
And lastly, we have a young man that is retiring from law enforcement. He's going to work for Energy, so hopefully we'll have Energy contact. But he was one of my K-9 officers, and his partner Dino is 8 years old now. Y'all may remember several years ago when we bought two at the same time, but he's 8 years old now, and you know, they have a work expectancy of 9 to 10 years on them. It's really not feasible for us to send him back and partner him with somebody else for a year. I would ask that the board, I don't really know if y'all have to declare him surplus or just retire him or what have you, but I'd like to let Dino be retired with his handler and ride off into the sunset. Of course, that's y'all's decision. Part of my request would be that he not be returned to any type of service life anywhere else. If the young man decides to go back into law enforcement somewhere else, the dog would stay retired. But I'd like to ask for you guys to entertain a motion to retire Dino with Jeremiah Thornton. Surplus, yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we deem Dino surplus.
Yes, sir.
Give him his Social Security too.
Get him an address where you gonna mail it to.
I want to second that motion on the Social Security. I'll second the motion.
All right, got a motion by Carl, second by Gerald. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you all
All
again.
right.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Sheriff, old business,
Ain't got nothing.
new business.
Mr. President, I have one short item on new business concerning a weight limit on one particular road in District 3, which is McDonald Road. I would ask that the engineer and the road department look at the weight limit on that one road in District 3, McDonald Road.
All right.
I would make that as a motion.
Can we post that road as no through trucks, no trucks?
We can, and that's basically, I think that's what they're thinking about doing is posting, but they need something from us to asking them to go out and look whether posting will work or something else. So my motion is to ask the engineer and the road manager to go out and look and see what needs to be done and do what needs to be done as far as posting.
All right. Motion by Gerald, second by Carl. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Paul, I got one little thing. Tim, could you, I think Carl and I share this road, and you've mentioned how dangerous it is due to lack of striping. Cedar Hill, get us an estimate together on the portion that needs to be striped.
Okay. The entire length of it?
Well, whatever you think, wherever the stripes are worn off.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's pretty much the entire.
Be done.
Yeah,
for sure.
it definitely does. Okay, I'll get you a cost estimate.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, one other thing, Tim.
Get your seat, Tim.
I mean, could you go out and give me an assessment of Calhoun Station from what's that, Stout to 22?
Have you seen it lately?
I try not to go down bad roads. I don't have a county truck.
There's a development that is at the corner of Calhoun Station and I guess that's Sawwell.
Yeah.
They've been bringing in dirt for the past week and that road is torn to pieces.
Really?
Bringing dirt going to what, Mega side?
No, it's to the, right over there, that site in front of John Deere.
John Deere. Okay.
You know, no, we stopped that Friday when I found out about it.
Yeah.
But that road, yeah, that road's in bad shape.
Really? Well, we need to see what we can do to fix it.
Give us an estimate. Bring an estimate back.
Yeah,
Yes, you're talking about to fix it correctly.
Well,
I mean,
give me an estimate.
to patch it or, okay, I'll get you an estimate to patch it and I'll get you one.
I think it needs to be hardened. You know, when it was built, it was
They didn't
not-
fix it then when they first built it.
When it first built, it wasn't built to be that hard used.
Bring us back two estimates, one to get us by, and then one to really fix it, because that's where some growth is gonna be.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, growth is gonna be there.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. I've looked at that road in the past, I'll just update the numbers.
Yeah. Okay then.
All right.
Okay. I see right-of-way man and our economic development person, so I know it's
I
possible.
know we must be going into executive session.
Executive session.
Two items have come to our attention since 9 this morning, one for economic development and one for right-of-way acquisition, if you're interested in an
Okay.
executive session.
All right.
I move we go into close determination to determine whether or not we should be going into executive session.
That motion by Carl, second by
I'd like to second
Trey.
that motion, because that's the first complete motion that Mr. Banks made in a while.
in 32 years.
In 32 years. I like that motion.
All in
Hey,
favor?
man.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
That was a
All right.
complete motion.
That was a complete motion.
It was.
Yeah.
No misunderstanding.
Well, we
I
used to
did.
just say we going
I
into
did.
closed session.